Today, we're going to be checking out Dr. Wondertainment's custom SCP pets. So, let's check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
And there are only seconds left before the final bell rings and school is officially out for summer.
This is one of the best moments in all of kid history.
Bouncing her leg in anticipation.
The moments before it's summer vacation are like literally the best moments. I remember this every single year.
But more importantly, she can take her mom up on a life-changing promise.
Oh, what's that?
They made a deal when they moved to this new town. If she could get through 6th grade with straight A's and good feedback from her teachers, she could finally get a pet of her own. There were some stipulations, of course. The pet can't be too big, make a lot of noise.
It can't be like a dog,
needs to be
can't be a
she
bird.
Can take care of by herself.
Maybe like a frog,
work,
a goldfish?
She buckled down, studied hard, and even found a math tutor.
Okay, that math tutor is kind of sus.
In 5, 4.
Oh, come on.
3.
She's so excited, dude. Her excitement is contagious. I'm excited for her.
And the class erupts into cheers.
Let's go! Summer vacation! Yes!
Runs out the door so quickly. She barely catches her teacher's parting words of, "Have a great summer vacation."
Yeah, nobody
everyone.
cares. It's summer vacation. I don't have to talk to you.
Kids all rushing toward the buses, their parents' cars, or their final walk home of the school year. She's right there with them.
Dude, she is so excited. Look at that smile.
Many of the faces in the hall are still unfamiliar. After a year of being the new kid in town, she hasn't made many friends.
Oh, that is kind of tough.
Now, she's going to get a special friend today, something all her own that she can nurture, play with, and won't ever have to worry about
impressing. That's so exciting.
It's only a short walk to the pet store, and then an even shorter walk to her house. As she makes her way down the sidewalk, the sun beaming down on her smiling face, the girl lets her
She will
mind
not stop
wander.
smiling.
What kind of pet should she get?
Ooh, by the way, if you guys have any pets, comment what they are down below and their name.
The dog needs to be walked. That
I have
might be
2
too much
cats
work.
and a dog and a lizard.
Maybe, but you can't play with a fish.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't pet a
true.
Fish
Are
or at
cool to
least it
look
won't be
at,
happy if
but yeah,
try.
you can't play with it.
She remembers a pet tarantula her eccentric aunt once had.
That
and
would be
shudders.
kind of
No
cool, but a
spiders,
little bit
definitely
scary.
not. She wants something friendly, something small
Ooh,
enough that her
hamster's
mom won't
nice.
complain, but something she can cuddle and really bond with.
Maybe
Whatever
a
it ends up
cat's
being,
too big.
She's going to take great care of it. The walk feels much longer than it is, the anticipation stretching the minutes until they feel like hours. Much longer than it is, the anticipation stretching the minutes until they feel like hours. She spots the sign in the shape of a dog playing with a ball.
That is so adorable.
She's reached the pet store.
Yes!
Inside, there are an overwhelming number of options.
Ooh,
She walks to the reptile section,
whoa!
pressing her
Holy
face to the class of
smokes! That is a
housing
big
iguanas,
lizard.
Slithery snakes,
Whoa.
tiny darting lizards
Oh my
with
gosh.
brightly colored tails.
Oh,
Nearby, there are fat green tree frogs.
Get
and
that.
pulpy toads with huge
yes!
watery eyes.
Yes! Get them
She
all!
briefly pauses at the fish, enticed by their vivid colors and the staggering variety of shapes and sizes.
Wait a second, is she there by herself, or like did her mom take her there? Did I miss that? I don't know, but it kind of seems like she's there by herself.
But a fish is such a boring pet, she thinks. What can you even do with a fish? She moves on, looking at a litter of fluffy, tatty kittens. They romp and roll around on top of each other.
They are
flicking their tails and
adorable.
stretching their soft paws. They're adorable, and her heart melts. But then she thinks about having to scoop a litter box and decides to move on.
It is kind of gross
There are
sometimes having
roly-poly
to scoop
hamsters
poop.
and sleek-looking rats, tiny white mice with pink eyes, and gerbils running on
Ooh,
wheels.
gerbils would be nice. Or
Suddenly,
guinea
a
pigs.
sign
I had
catches
guinea
her
pigs when
eye.
I was younger.
Exotic pets, it reads.
Whoa,
What could
cool.
be over there?
Snakes,
She
maybe?
tiptoes into the section, almost feeling like she's stumbled into somewhere she shouldn't be. There are ferrets wiggling around and playing with a ball, fluffy chinchillas that look impossibly plush.
That
and
is
soft to the touch,
amazing.
little sugar gliders peeking out of cloth
What?
pouches
I didn't even
with
know you could
wide
have
eyes.
those as a pet.
There's even a skunk.
Are you
blinking at her
serious?
Curiosity.
What?
But
A
nothing feels
skunk?
quite right. None of these pets seem like the one she has to bring home.
Huh.
Then, out of the corner of her eye, she spots something curious. A row
What
of
is
small cardboard
that?
packages covered with inviting cartoonish text, advertising something called a custom pet.
What?
She picks up one of the packages and reads the description. It sounds impossible, too good to be true. Just buy these packaged eggs, place them anywhere in your house, and a perfectly matched pet will hatch and fit right in.
Wait a second, they
It will
sell
become
that at the
exactly
pet
kind of
store?
pet that you need. She looks for any sort of fine print, something that might indicate this is a toy or some kind of joke, but it looks real. Could it be? Shyly, the girl...
So for those of you guys that have never heard of the SCP Dr. Wondertainment before, most people don't know if it's one person or if it's like a business, but essentially they focus on creating custom SCPs targeted at kids. So I just recently watched another video where Dr. Wondertainment made a chicken noodle soup that, long story short, if you didn't follow the instructions and you ate it, you would turn into a fully grown KFC chicken and you would be served up at Chick-fil-A. So Dr. Wondertainment kind of like sells good SCPs as long as you follow the instructions. So I'm very curious to see about these custom pets because I could see it either turning out really cool or it could go really bad if this girl doesn't follow the instructions on how cut. If she doesn't follow the instructions on how to hatch the egg correctly.
Takes one of the packages up to the cash register. The employee goes to scan it, but there's no barcode.
Well, of course
"Did you
not.
bring
It's
this
an
in with you?"
SCP.
The cashier asks. She shakes her head. Okay, well, we don't sell these, so I guess you can just take it?
What?
The girl's eyes go wide. Really? She can just have it for free? The cashier is already waving her off, beckoning the next customer to come.
Okay, guys, if I was a cash register, I don't think that I would just like let something go for free. I would probably like talk to my manager or not just give it away, especially to such a little girl. Like, you don't even know what it is. This guy didn't even check it out. And it just seems like such a weird idea. It honestly kind of reminds me of like those fossil dinosaur eggs. I don't know if you guys ever got those before, but I used to get them all the time at like Walmart, where it gives you like a little mining pick and you could like mine out a little tiny like dinosaur fossil. But obviously it doesn't come to life and it doesn't turn into a real pet like this says that it will. So I feel like this guy probably should not have given it away for free.
Check out. Not wanting to question her good luck, she takes off without a second thought. The run home from the pet store is a total blur of excitement. All she wants to do is get inside, make a peanut butter sandwich, and figure out where to put her new pet's egg before her mom gets home from work. Not that she's doing anything wrong. It's just easier if she takes care of things before her mom can ask too many questions.
Interesting.
She's doing
This
them
is
both a
not
favor,
good.
really, taking care of all the logistics so her mom doesn't have to worry about it. She pulls her house key from her pocket and unlocks the door with shaking hands.
Guys, if you
Almost
ever
time.
see a sus thing at the
sandwich
store,
can
do
wait.
not
She
get
needs
it.
to get upstairs to her
It could
room
be an
right now
SCP.
and start her life with her new pet, whatever it ends up being. She throws her backpack on her bed and sits down on the floor, tearing open the cardboard packaging. Inside, there are 6 tiny eggs sealed in
6?
plastic. She just wants one pet, so she'll start with 1 egg for now.
They're so
Of course,
tiny.
if the pet ends up being lonely, maybe it'll want a friend? She shakes off the thought.
So what
She
are
can
the
figure all of
instructions
those
here?
details out later. She's just about to puncture the plastic so the egg can breathe when she
What?
stops. Where should she put it? She was so excited to leave the store, she forgot to pick up a tank or terrarium or somewhere a
Well,
traditional
she
pet
doesn't
would
even
live.
know where it's going to
The
be or
packaging
what
says
it
these
is.
Pets can live anywhere, but do they really mean anywhere?
Anywhere?
If she does something wrong and her new pet is hurt or doesn't hatch at all, it'll just break her heart.
So guys, I don't know if this SCP is going to be like an actual pet. Like imagine it hatches and it's like Shy Guy as an SCP. I don't think it'll be that. I think that maybe it'll be a like super exotic pet. Since in the pet store, it was in like the exotic pet section, it probably, I don't know, is going to be like a lizard with 2 heads, or maybe it'll be like a combination of animals, similar to like maybe like a shark dog or something like that. I feel like that would be really cool, but also super creepy at the same time. And what if she gets an SCP pet that isn't super friendly? Like, what if she got like a combination, like a crocodile lion as her SCP pet? You just got to cross your fingers and hope that that thing doesn't eat you while you're sleeping.
Then she spots a potential solution. An old dollhouse, frilly and pastel pink and surprisingly spacious inside,
Ooh,
sits next
nice.
to her bed.
Good find.
She hasn't played with dolls in a while, insisting she was too old for them when she started 6th grade.
Well, now
But
you can have a
she's
pet
thrilled that she didn't
instead
get
of a
rid her
doll.
dollhouse just yet. Even if the dolls don't live there anymore, maybe now it can be a home for something new. For whatever hatches
It's
out
so
of this
tiny,
strange
dude.
little
It looks
egg.
like a little like
Carefully,
candied corn.
She breaks the plastic seal on
There
the
was
egg
plastic
and
on
places
that?
it inside the dollhouse. All of the doll furniture and little plastic choking hazards are gone.
Did she read the
leaving
instructions?
Only a pretty pink Victorian-style enclosure.
Are
where
you
the egg
supposed to
can
do
safely
that?
Hatch. Now, all she has to do is wait.
I feel so bad for
Later
her.
that night, the girl wakes from a deep sleep to the sound of something moving inside the dollhouse.
Okay, so she did not tell her mom. She was supposed to tell her mom, but she didn't. Obviously the mom came home at some point and she didn't mention anything. So yeah, like she has no idea that there is a random egg about to hatch.
The skitter of tiny legs, the rustling.
Oh, I
of
hope it's
something
not a
inside
spider.
the formerly vacant dollhouse.
If it's a spider, I'm burning my
She
PC.
sits up and is about to go peek inside when a chill of fear runs down her spine.
What is it?
What if it's something horrible?
Yeah.
She doesn't know what kind of eggs those were.
Yeah, I
She'd
don't
never
know
seen
either.
Anything like them before.
I would probably
What if
not
it's a
just hatch a
spider or
random egg.
worm or some other awful monstrous thing she can't even imagine.
Oh
And she
no,
brought
it's
it
a
into her
slug!
home, to where
It's
she
a
and her mom
slug!
sleep without even questioning
Oh
it.
god!
She sits for a moment, the only sound the rustling of the thing in the dollhouse.
I hope it's
and
like
her
a
own
Pikachu.
short, panicked breaths. Then there's another sound,
Oh,
light and sweet, like a little bird chirping.
oh,
It's
that's
coming
nice.
from the dollhouse. Curiosity finally gets the better of her, and she opens the dollhouse, lifting
What
the roof
is
off.
that?
Inside, she spots it. Her
Is that a
new pet.
cat or a
Feathery
mouse?
soft fur, pastel pink and white, covers the little animal, which is currently exploring its new home delightedly. It flicks around
What
a poofy little
is
tail
that?
Looks a bit like
It looks like a
lavender
Furby.
feather duster, and stops to blink up at her with two large, friendly purple eyes.
Are we seeing this right?
Slowly, she reaches a hand down to pet the animal, and it nuzzles into her
What?
palm, body vibrating with something like a kitten's purr.
So it's like a cat hamster combination, maybe like a cat hamster guinea pig, and it's actually really cute.
Any tension she felt before melts out of her body as she realizes the packaging was not lying.
Well, at
She
least
put the
it's not
pet
like
in
a
an
lion
environment
turtle
that
or
was
something
comforting,
scary.
Sweet, happy, a piece of childlike joy, and it had become the living embodiment of those things. For a brief moment, she wonders how she'll explain this new addition to the household, what she'll need to feed it, and what her mom will say. But then her new best friend chirps happily again, and all she can think is, this is going to be an amazing summer.
Okay, guys, so that pet fit exactly the description of like what her mom wanted, which is kind of what she wanted, which was like a tiny, cute, cuddly pet, not a fish, not something that was like too big or too small. So it's kind of like the perfect size. She can cuddle with it, and it's extremely friendly. So it kind of makes me wonder, is this SCP going to be exactly what you want it to be? So like, for example, if I were to hatch this little egg, and I was thinking like, oh, I want like a crocodile turtle, would it hatch as like a crocodile turtle combination? Could I just like make it be whatever pet I want it to be? I don't know if that's how it works, but that would be really cool if that's how it works.
Things worked out very well for the girl. Meanwhile, other families across town were screaming in horror as a tiny fire-breathing creature set
Whoa!
their drapes ablaze,
Oh, other
and
people
another
bought
slowly
it!
dropped down from the ceiling on a
Oh, I
silvery
didn't think
thread,
about that.
blending into the shadows. This girl was not the only child to bring home one of these miraculous pets and hatch it in her home.
What?
And other children were much less careful about
So-
where they put the eggs.
So she just got
Of
lucky.
course, the children weren't to blame here.
Oh, wait a second. So Dr. Bob just said an important detail there. The other kids weren't careful about where they put the egg. So maybe it's not what you're thinking of at the time that you place the egg down. Maybe it's more important where you place it. She placed it in like a princess dollhouse, which is cute. You know, it's probably going to make something that's cuddly and small. But like, let's say I place the egg next to a fireplace. Maybe then it would spawn in a baby fire dragon.
The blame lay with whoever was behind the design and widespread release of these odd little animals, also known as SCP-1550. SCP-1550
Is it bad that I want one of
is a
these
species
eggs
of
just to see what I could make?
artificially synthesized creatures of unknown classification who are highly adaptable to any given environment.
They look like
Their
monsters
larvae
from
will
Monsters,
develop,
Inc.
grow, and change to fit whatever setting their eggs are placed in.
Oh.
Though adult specimens vary greatly in appearance, they all have
Interesting.
markings on their underbelly that read, a Dr. Wondertainment trademark. Because of their highly adaptable nature, it is uncertain exactly what the original form of these creatures might look like. SCP-1550 eggs are 1 centimeter long, beige
That's
in
so
color,
tiny.
and stored in airtight plastic
That's like less
packaging
than
that
the
prevents
tip of
them
my
from hatching
pinky.
until they are exposed to the outside air. The SCP Foundation first discovered SCP-1550 after a collection of bizarre cardboard packages were found in the exotic pets section of a pet store. None of the workers had ever seen these packages before and had never even heard of SCP-1550 prior
Yeah,
to
I'm
being
always
asked about
curious,
it.
like,
The
how does that
packages were
even
brought
get
into
there?
Containment immediately and were found to each contain 6 SCP-1550 eggs in airtight containers.
Okay, so they all have 6.
The original packaging also contained an instruction leaflet, which I've managed to get my hands on a
Oh,
copy of.
okay, so there
It
are
reads,
instructions.
"Hey kids, your parents aren't letting you get a dog or cat? Don't fret. Buy a Dr. Wondertainment custom pet.
Oh my gosh.
Dr. Wondertainment's custom pet is far superior to an ordinary and boring cat or dog due to their original Adapto Eggs packaging, a Dr. Wondertainment invention. Just leave your custom pet Adapto Eggs around the house, and when they hatch, they'll fit right in. Perfect for apartments. To get your very own custom pets is easy, kids. Just put an egg in your house and break the plastic seal to give your new pet some air so it can hatch. Your new pet will be perfect for where you live, wherever you live. If your new custom pet seems lonely, just add another Adapto egg and get him a new friend. Dr. Wondertainment is not responsible for injuries or death caused by this or any other product."
Okay, I kind of feel like Dr. Wondertainment should be in charge of maybe some deaths or injuries from this product because they made the product and they know that this product is cuckoo. This product is insane.
Wondertainment custom pets are shipped out prefixed. Who exactly is this Dr. Wondertainment? A person? A corporation?
Yeah, we
a
don't
highly
know.
intelligent octopus with a penchant for toy design?
Okay,
The
Dr.
identity
Bob
of
is
the
onto
force
something.
behind the trademark is undetermined. But whatever Dr. Wondertainment is, one thing is certain. The toys they create are highly unusual. Dozens of Wondertainment's creations have been contained by the SCP Foundation, including SCP-2855, SCP-2396, and
Okay.
SCP-111.
Is that one of the
They
animals?
range from useful to whimsical to downright destructive, and the motives behind each invention are currently unknown. SCP-1550 is just one in a long line of anomalous toys from the shadowy toymaker. And so, like they have with so many other Wondertainment products, the research staff at the Foundation decided to perform some exploratory tests on these supposed custom pets. First, one SCP-1550 egg was placed in a tank of seawater and
Okay,
left to
this is
hatch.
kind of cool.
When it did, it produced a specimen with gills all along its upper
Wow.
back, behind its eyes, an array of flat and broad tails it could use to swim efficiently.
Guys, is it
Further
bad that I
examination
want to
of the
get these
creature
eggs
revealed
and
that it
test them?
excreted special mucus to protect its eyes from the salt water, and a swim
Whoa.
bladder that was discovered during dissection. The skin of the creature was a mottled blue, giving it natural camouflage in its seawater environment.
So they were not joking when they said that wherever you put the egg, it will adapt to whatever surroundings it's in. So I'm kind of curious, like obviously the SCP Foundation is doing some tests right now, but how intense can you make this? Like, can you put the egg in a fire? Could you put the egg in space? Could you put the egg like on another planet maybe? And then you can make Martians or Jupiter people or even people on Uranus? Who knows?
Next, the team decided to place an egg in fresh water and see what different adaptations were produced.
You're going to make a
tank was
mermaid.
filled with water from a river behind the testing site, and the egg was placed inside until it hatched. Interestingly,
What
this specimen
is
of
that?
SCP-1550 did not possess any gills, suggesting similar circumstances would not necessarily
So,
produce the same adaptations.
It's like a mammal then.
Instead, this specimen had enlarged lungs and a thin, streamlined body for more efficient movement.
Yeah, it's like a dolphin.
Next, the team prepared a terrarium meant to simulate the ecosystem of a temperate forest and placed the next egg inside.
Ooh, it's gonna make like a
When
squirrel.
It hatched, it produced a specimen of SCP-1550 covered in a layer of brown fur, with a ridged underbelly resembling that of a snake.
What
It
is
also
that,
had a tail
dude?
consisting of large tentacles.
Are you
Along the
serious?
ridged underbelly,
That
there was
is
a
so
smooth patch
cool.
of skin with the Dr. Wondertainment logo printed, like a tattoo.
So it does kind of just
The team
combine
prepared
other
a different
existing
terrarium that
animals.
simulated a desert ecosystem and allowed an egg to hatch inside. The resulting specimen was cold-blooded, tan in color to blend in with the sand, and skilled at
Interesting.
burrowing quickly to protect itself
It's
from
kind of
outside
like a
stresses.
fox.
It was also, notably, 1 centimeter larger than the previous specimens. The
Huh.
final terrarium was made to simulate the environment of an average urban apartment. The
Okay.
egg that hatched
So
inside
it'll make like
produced
a
creature
cat.
with leathery
What?
skin and eyes placed similarly to those of a
I
chameleon.
thought for sure
The
it would be
demeanor
a
of the
cat.
specimen was noticeably friendlier than its predecessors.
Oh,
and
wow.
It acted more like a domesticated house pet than a wild animal.
So if you put the Wondertainment egg inside like a human house or an apartment, it'll be domesticated already. So you won't have to worry about it being like a wild animal.
Its most impressive adaptation was its method of eating. Behind the specimen's jaw, there were
What?
strands of baleen like those found in whales.
In a
which allowed
what?
the creature to filter feed on dust and crumbs from the terrarium floor.
That is so
After
weird.
these experiments proved successful, The research team decided to test the eggs in more extreme environments.
Yes, that's
One
what I
egg
want to
was
see.
placed in a vat of molten iron.
Can they
Promptly
survive?
burst into flames and was completely destroyed.
Oh,
The head
okay.
researcher responded, "Well, what did you expect to happen?" Which seems like a fair point. The next egg was placed inside a vacuum chamber, which was then depressurized. The egg promptly exploded, covering the inside of the chamber in an unidentifiable slime. These two less than successful experiments led the research team to the conclusion that SCP-1550 eggs cannot survive in conditions that would be uninhabitable for any other animal.
Ah, okay, so you
There
can't
are
put them
limits to
on
the
different
creature's
planets.
adaptability. But what would happen to an egg placed in a hostile environment filled with something recognizable? A vacuum chamber was filled with seawater, and an egg was placed inside. The chamber was then pressurized to 15,750 psi. This time, the egg was not destroyed, but instead was able to
So
successfully
they basically just made an environment like if you were at the deepest depths of the ocean.
hatch. The resulting
Whoa.
SCP-1550 specimen bore a heavy resemblance to several
Wow.
deep-sea creatures, most notably
Oh,
the
Charles
anglerfish.
Darwin would love
Like
to
the
get his hands
anglerfish,
on these
the creature
Easter
had a
eggs.
bioluminescent lure dangling from its forehead. It also had gills, dark gray blue
looks
skin,
blind,
flat
too.
and webbed fins, and enlarged eyes twice the size of those found on other specimens.
Wow.
Its teeth were sharp and ridged, similar to those of a shark. The head researcher made a note on this portion of the experiment log, asking,
So it's basically
"Just what
like an
kind of child
anglerfish."
Dr. Wondertainment is trying to sell these things to that they could live in conditions where a creature like that could be kept as a pet." All adult specimens of SCP-1550 are kept in a sealed 5 meter by 5 meter terrarium,
Aw.
which simulates desert conditions.
So that means that the SCP Foundation took the little girl's like little fluffy Furby, which is so sad.
This terrarium is monitored via electronic surveillance, and each of the specimens is implanted with a tracking device.
Oh, okay.
If one or more
That's
of
smart.
the specimens escapes, the area is locked down until all of the creatures have been captured.
Okay,
and
guys,
placed
hear
back
me
in
out.
the
They could
terrarium.
make the most amazing
All
zoo with these
SCP-1550
custom
eggs
pets.
are kept in their packaging unless being used for testing. As the Foundation does not want the population of adult specimens to exceed 20 at any given time, excess specimens are terminated.
No.
Honestly, that makes me a little sad.
Yeah, me
I'd
too.
be happy to take them in if the research team can't keep them.
See? Me
But I
too.
digress. Having a pet is a big responsibility.
Well, I guess you got
and
a
some
fish
people
anyway.
just can't handle the risks and rewards that come with caring for an animal, especially one that can become an accidental weapon if you're not careful. If your child is begging you for a pet, maybe you should start them out with a goldfish first. The goldfish never burnt the house down.
Yeah,
though I suppose
that's a good point,
there's a first
Dr.
time for
Bob.
everything.
You can clearly see this completely throws our entire understanding of our place in the universe into complete disarray, says the astronomer as he
I
excitedly makes his
concur.
case to a panel of aged and supposedly learned advisors.
They look fed up
My
with him.
observations leave no doubt that everything we previously suspected to be the absolute truth is wrong.
Okay,
Panel of
Einstein.
advisors murmur and lean close together to whisper to each other. The astronomer can't hear what they are saying, but the passion and joy that he felt as he explained his findings to the room is quickly draining from his face. He can see the men mouthing the words "no" and "lies" as they make disapproving gestures.
Oh
But how
no.
could this be? Had they not understood what he was showing them?
No,
Maybe he
clearly.
didn't explain things in a way that they could comprehend. Here he was, the greatest scientist of his day, presenting hard facts, backed up by rigorous observations, and this was their reaction.
Boo!
The group of
They're
advisors
really
finish
booing
conferring
him.
and grow quiet. The chief advisor clears his throat, and everyone in the room waits for him to speak. Royal Scientist, this panel has examined your findings and listened to your theories. The advisor can't help but sneer at the word.
Why?
And has decided that the ideas you present are not only incorrect, but dangerous.
Oh,
The
dangerous.
astronomer can't believe what he's hearing. This panel, acting under the authority of the king, has charged you with the crime of heresy. The astronomer is shocked.
Oh, no.
He steps towards the panel to plead with them, but he's stopped by a pair of guards who
Oh my
grab him
gosh,
by
they're
the
gonna
arms.
imprison him.
Stop! Stop! I'm a man of science.
maybe even
I only
worse.
presented you with the truth. But no one seems moved by his appeals. The panel watches as the astronomer is dragged from the room, kicking and fighting, still insisting on his innocence.
Yo, they literally just sent the man to death and they're about to like chow down on a giant pig.
Dragged from the room, kicking and fighting,
Only
still
royalty does
insisting on
this.
his innocence. The screams echo through
Oh,
the
no,
dungeon
wait, whoa,
as the
whoa, whoa,
torturer
whoa, whoa.
cranks another notch on
Whoa,
the rack,
what are we doing?
stretching the astronomer's body just a little bit more. He has
Hey,
no idea
let's
how
not do
long
that,
this has
okay?
been going on. Hours, days. The pain has been excruciating.
Is
and
this how the
without end.
SCP is
He
created?
closes his eyes, trying to escape the torture by retreating into his mind. but he's slapped on the face and brought back to the reality of his situation. Standing in front of him is the chief advisor, the same one who sentenced him to this inhumane treatment.
I don't think I like the chief advisor.
You can end this anytime you like. Simply recant your statements and admit you were mistaken, and all of this will be over.
I would personally just admit that I was stupid and that I was wrong.
Means that they will release him or simply kill him to put him out of his misery. But it didn't matter which the right answer was. He couldn't lie. The astronomer knew the truth, and no amount of pain, no matter how intense or how long they submitted him to it, would change what he now knew. Disappointed with the astronomer's steadfastness, the advisor signals to the torturer, who cranks the rack again, stretching the astronomer's body to the point where he feels like his bones might pop out of their sockets.
No, I don't like
Recant, the advisor screams.
My bones are
repeating
tingling.
the word over and over, growing louder as the astronomer's own cries increase from the pain caused by the torturer cranking the rack more and more.
Let's not do this.
The astronomer closes his eyes again. He's certain this will be the end of him soon, and that he will die with the great secret he's learned without getting the chance to share it with the world.
What is the
But
great
suddenly,
secret? That the world is
astronomer notices
round?
that the room has gone quiet. The advisor is no longer yelling, and the torturer has stopped operating the machine. The astronomer opens his eyes to see the advisor and the torturer both in a deep bow.
What?
His gaze continues up, and he sees the king himself standing in front of him.
Okay.
The king
What's up,
stares
Your
at the
Highness?
astronomer for what feels like an eternity, before simply asking, "Is it true?" The astronomer, limbs still stretched on the rack, manages a nod, and with his remaining strength whispers, "It's true." The king motions with his hand to the torturer,
That is
who
a
stands
long
up and
thingy.
begins releasing the astronomer from his constraints. The advisor protests, "But my lord, this man..." But he's cut off by the king with a stern look and retreats back into his deep bow. "Show me," the king says, as the astronomer stands, rubbing his sore shoulders where the tendons and muscles were stretched far beyond their natural limits. The astronomer opens the door to his laboratory and gestures for the king to enter.
Okay, guys, comment down below what you think is going to be behind this door. I honestly think that it's going to be whatever this SCP is, the abdominal planet, which I think is a person that has a planet as their stomach.
The room is a mess of
never
papers
mind.
and scientific equipment, a reflection of the busy and scattered mind of the man who works here. The king is immediately drawn to a table with a large scroll. He spreads it across the table and examines it, but his face betrays no hint of what he is thinking. Is this what you showed my advisors? The astronomer
Interesting.
nods yes. Would you like to see for yourself? The astronomer motions to the window, where a brass tube is attached to a tripod.
A
The
telescope.
king approaches the device, but
Yes.
doesn't know how it works. The astronomer demonstrates by looking through the eyepiece. He moves it slightly, making small adjustments to make sure it is just right for the king. There, now look. The king bends over to peer through the telescope, and a look of shock comes over his face.
What did he see?
What he sees
a
is the
planet?
most incredible thing he has
sun?
ever witnessed.
Uranus?
There, far
Huh?
above up in the sky, unable to be seen by the naked eye, is a man,
Whoa,
and he is staring back at him.
Hey, yo, what's going on?
The planet that this played out on was not Earth,
Oh,
but a
what?
bizarre place that is one of the strangest anomalies in the entire SCP.
So, okay, I was completely wrong. So, the planet is actually the planet that they're on, but the theory that this guy had is that the planet is the stomach of a giant godlike human. I did not see that coming.
Foundation Archive. This is SCP-007,
Whoa, 007.
also known as
James Bond.
Abdominal Planet. SCP-007 is a spherical object located in the abdomen of a young man.
That is the
Or
strangest
rather,
thing.
in the space where his abdomen should be,
So,
since
what?
most of the muscle, skin, and organs that should be present
It looks
simply
like
are
Earth,
not.
but it's
The
not.
subject, a Caucasian male in his mid-20s of average height and build, does not appear affected by the large missing portion of his body, and has not
Average
reported
height?
experiencing pain or discomfort of any kind.
Oh, yeah, okay, hold on. Hold the phone. Okay, so never mind. I was wrong again. So this SCP is a normal-sized human in our world, but in his stomach, he has an entire planet. Kind of like Horton Hears a Who, where, you know, the giant elephant finds like a tiny little flower, and then on that flower, there's a little speck, and the speck has an entire universe within it. That's kind of like what we're talking about here, except the little speck is this guy's stomach, and instead of his actual stomach, it's a planet. That's his stomach. I think I'm starting to understand.
Kind. In the space where his abdominal muscles and organs should be is a small globe composed of soil and water. This sphere, which measures roughly 60 centimeters in diameter, resembles the planet Earth, though the arrangement of the continents does not match any known configuration from our own planet's history.
Interesting.
The tiny planet has its own weather patterns, and even a small, but still detectable, gravitational pull.
They just sent a meteor into orbit.
Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of SCP-007 is that it appears to be inhabited. Microscopic organisms that would correspond to roughly the scale of human beings on Earth have been observed on the surface of the planet. So far, 2 distinct intelligent species have been identified,
there's 2?
both of whom seem to possess a technological level similar to the 15th century on Earth.
Interesting.
It is unknown if the inhabitants of the abdominal planet are aware of the world outside of their planet.
Well,
and
now they are.
communication attempts with the planet's occupants have been placed on hold by senior Foundation officials, pending further study into what effect an exchange may have on them or us. The human subject within which SCP-007 is located provided the Foundation with a name that he claims to be his, but no records of such a person existing have yet to be located. Upon being questioned about the lack of records, he willfully offered both a social security and driver's license number, but when they were checked against current records, neither had yet to be assigned by the U.S. government.
Interesting.
And the mysteries surrounding this man don't stop there. The subject has not shown the need for either food or water, and it is unknown what energy source his body continues to operate on without nutrition. He is capable of both eating and drinking, though, despite the large missing section of his stomach. But it is still not known what happens to the substances after he swallows them. The man has above-average intelligence and scored a 128 on an administered IQ test.
Okay,
He also
pretty good.
generally appears friendly and amiable, and expresses only a passing curiosity about the planet located within his abdomen and how it came to be there. When asked about the origins of the planet, he replied very matter-of-factly that, "I just woke up one day and there it was. I don't have any..."
Wait, that is the most random thing. He literally didn't freak out. He was like, okay, cool. I'm going to wake up and I'm going to grab some breakfast. And then he looks down and oops, oh, look at that. I have a planet as a stomach. How are you not fazed by that?
Any idea how it got there? Due to the poorly understood nature of SCP-007, it has been classified as Euclid, and the small planet and the man it resides in are contained in a sealed, comfortably furnished 10 by 10 meter room that the subject is not allowed to leave. The subject is to be monitored closely by Foundation staff and has a weekly chess game with one of the attending doctors, which also serves as an opportunity to evaluate his mental health. So far, he has not shown any signs of mental illness or violent tendencies.
I am kind of curious why the SCP Foundation, isn't really doing anything, that they aren't, investigating the planet inside of this guy's stomach more, especially because they know there's like a species living there. There's actually 2 different species. There's like a whole ecosystem of people and probably also like animals and different sea life. And like they could probably learn a lot from his Earth-like stomach. So I don't know why they're not doing more research on that.
And seems to be quite content. In general, he appears happy with his restricted living situation inside the Foundation facility and has made no attempts to escape. The subject has made multiple requests for access to a computer with an internet connection, but due to potential security risks, this request has thus far been denied.
The boy screams as his body transforms.
What?
His bones warp and twist as feathers emerge from his pores.
I don't like where this is
His skull
going.
sharpens into a long, hard beak.
Okay.
He's in a living nightmare. And who could have guessed?
My boy turned
it all
into a
started
chicken.
With an innocent attempt to play hooky. It's an ordinary Monday morning, and all over town, children are waking up and reluctantly dragging themselves out of bed. Some are oversleeping, hitting the snooze on their alarms, and getting a bit of extra shut-eye before their exhausted parents notice, wake them up, and rush to get them to school before the first morning bell. In one particular bedroom, a young boy is awake but still in bed, brainstorming as fast as he can. He is determined to skip school today however he can. He usually doesn't mind school very much, but today, all he can think about is the math test he didn't study for.
I mean, yeah,
and
we've
the
all
mean
been there.
classmate who likes to knock his books out of his hands.
Sometimes you just
But he
want to
can't
skip
just
school.
ask to skip school for no reason. He has to come up with a plan. He runs to the bathroom, splashing hot water in his face to give him a flushed appearance and a warm forehead.
Oh, yeah.
Then he hops back into bed and begins to loudly cough and sniffle
Genius.
until his mother comes to check on him.
He complains that he doesn't feel well enough to go to school, and, sure enough, when his mother feels his forehead, it is hot to the touch. She agrees to let him stay home from school for the day, provided he stays in bed and gets plenty of rest. He promises that he will, and she leaves to go to work. On her way to work, the boy's mother remembers that there isn't much for him to eat while he's home alone all day.
There's half an eaten apple. Somebody took a bite out of an apple and put it back in the refrigerator.
At least, there isn't much that he would want to eat while he's sick. She decides that she can be a little bit late to work for the sake of her son's health, and pulls into a nearby grocery store. She rushes out of her car into the store, making a beeline for the soup aisle. She reaches for her usual go-to brand of chicken noodle soup, but finds the shelf completely bare.
Oh,
right,
I see where this is
season.
going.
Of course, the soup is sold out. Oh, great. This is exactly what she needs. A sick kid at home, 1 can of chicken noodle soup left at the store, and the machine won't even scan it. She smacks the side of the machine in frustration, and the screen reads invalid code, transaction canceled. With a heavy sigh, she glances over her shoulder. No one is watching. She tried to pay for the can to do the right thing.
Oh, she's gonna steal
The machine
it.
wouldn't let her. So she grabs the can and runs out of the
That's a
store
W
before
mom right
anyone
there.
can spot her.
She's willing to steal for
While
her
his
children.
mother is out, the boy is at home raiding the pantry for snacks to sate
It
his
looks
not
like
at
they
all
have
sick
so many
appetite.
snacks.
He fills up
Look at
on
that.
Oreos and toaster pastries, cheesy crackers, and chips. When he hears his mother's car pulling into the driveway, he quickly wipes the crumbs from his face and jumps back into bed, just in time for his mother to find him there, resting like he promised he would. She gives him a kiss on the forehead and tells him that she'll heat up some chicken noodle soup for him to eat. She's in a hurry to make it to work, though, so she'll need to leave it in the microwave for him. She pours the contents of the soup into a bowl, adds a bit of water, and pops the bowl into the microwave for a few minutes. She calls up to her son, letting him know that the soup will be ready when the microwave dings.
Oh, that stinks, dude.
Then she rushes out the door and heads to work for the day, confident that her son will be fine through her shift.
The mom is
If he
literally the
happens
one going
need
to give
anything,
him the
he can call her and let her
SCP.
know. The boy hears the microwave ding, but his stomach is too full from his rummage through the pantry for him to want any of the soup, in spite of its heavenly aroma. Instead, he creeps into the living room and sits down to play video games until his eyes start to hurt. As he boots up his gaming system, he thinks for a moment that he can hear a strange noise coming from the kitchen. A soft,
Hold up.
clucking sound.
Is that a chicken?
Like the chickens he saw on his grandparents' farm.
What?
But he quickly forgets about the sound as the screen lights up, and he disappears into the world of his favorite game. He plays for hours, until the grumbling of his stomach interrupts his concentration.
Oh, this is where it's
He's
going to get
suddenly
bad,
very
boys.
hungry, and remembers the soup his mother left in the microwave. It is certainly cold and unappealing by now, but he can just reheat it first. He punches the buttons on the microwave and waits for the soup to be ready. Again, he can hear strange noises coming from the microwave, but he doesn't think anything of it. The microwave dings, and he pulls out the bowl of soup, grabs a spoon, and digs in.
Oh, God.
A little while later, the boy's mother pulls into the driveway in a panic. She left work early when her phone rang with a call from her son. She answered, asking what was wrong, but he wouldn't answer her. All she could hear on the other end was rustling, heavy breathing, and some pained grunting.
Oh,
Fearing the worst,
gosh.
she drove back as fast as she could, running several red lights along the way. Now she fumbles with her keys as she unlocks the door,
I feel
terrified
so
of what
bad
she
for
will
this
find.
mom.
She grips her phone in her other hand, thumb hovering over the buttons, ready to dial
You
911
should
if the
probably
situation
call it.
calls for it. She pushes the front door open,
There's
calling
gonna be
her
a
son's
chicken.
name. He doesn't answer, and her stomach drops. Suddenly, she hears the loud thud of something heavy being knocked to the ground.
What?
Something is terribly wrong here, and even though she might find her worst nightmare, she has to face whatever is waiting for her inside. She runs into the kitchen and finds it a mess. The bowl of soup is shattered on the floor, congealed, cold soup pooling on the tile. The kitchen table is
There's
turned over on
chicken
its side.
feathers
The
everywhere.
kitchen chairs are in disarray. But the strangest sight is the dozens of tiny, white, fluffy things on the floor, counters, and furniture. She picks one up for a closer look and finds herself even more confused than before.
Oh, no.
It's a feather. They're all feathers. She calls her son's name again, praying for a response. This time, she receives one, though not the one she hopes for. She hears the sound of shuffling footsteps up above, followed by a strangled sound like a scream caught in someone's throat. She sprints up the stairs as fast as her legs can carry her, throwing open the door to her son's bedroom. There, she finds him. But this is not
I just
the
got
bright-eyed boy
goosebumps
that she
up
left
and down
behind
my
when she
entire
left for
body.
work. His arms are covered with a thick layer of white
What?
feathers, the same feathers that are beginning to poke through the skin of his face.
That is
The top of his head
so
has elongated into a floppy comb
Terrifying.
of excess skin, the same sort of excess skin that is wobbling below his chin. And his mouth.
What?
It doesn't look like a mouth anymore. It's pointed and hard, and his lips click together
That had
when he
to be so
speaks,
painful.
or rather, clucks. His bare feet are scaly and red, with
Ew.
claws protruding from his toes. He flaps his wings
Oh
frantically,
my
eyes
God.
wide and wild, clucking and running back
Wow.
and forth across the room.
Bro, that
When
had
he
to be
looks at
painful.
her, she does not see recognition in his gaze. Her son, her beloved boy, has turned into a chicken. Unable to do anything else, the mother calls an ambulance. At first, the paramedics that arrive on the scene think the call was some sort of elaborate prank. But when they set eyes on the boy, they agree that something truly bizarre is going
seeing
on.
that.
They
That's
speed to the
just
hospital with
crazy.
the chicken boy in tow.
Chicken boy.
Sadly, are unable to save his life.
Sounds like a bad
The
X-Men
mother
superhero.
turns over the can of the mysterious soup to the authorities, who launch a formal investigation. Unfortunately, they are unable to trace the can to any store, nor are they able to verify the existence of the company name on its label. Employees of the grocery store where she found the can insist that they have never seen it in their lives. Several weeks after this incident occurred, the SCP Foundation conducted a raid on a New York office of Marshall, Carter, and Dark. For those of you unfamiliar with the organization, and that is most of the general population by design, Marshall, Carter, and Dark Ltd. is an extremely powerful multinational corporation founded by 3 individuals with those surnames, specializing in the acquisition and sale of anomalous items, entities, and experiences.
Okay, so they
To put
buy
it simply,
SCPs.
They run the largest anomalous black market in the world and are the crime bosses of the paranormal world. To put it simply, they run the largest anomalous black
It-
market in
it
the
looks-
world
I don't know,
and are the
something's
crime
definitely
bosses
up
of
with
the
these guys.
paranormal world. During this particular raid, SCP Foundation operatives recovered 17 different unusual items. Among the items discovered was a shipping crate, recently delivered by the Federal Postal Service from an invalid return address. This crate contained
What?
103 cans of SCP-2057, as well as a copy of a letter written to one of the company's associates. So far, the letter has not been traced to an address. It reads, "Dear Cyrus, Maria has told me of the unfortunate circumstances that have befallen your children. I'd hope to hear about the improvement of their condition soon. As their godfather, I am extremely distressed to hear this. Having experienced a child suffering from the measles myself, I know how terrifying it can be when it seems as if they are getting worse. Recently, we received a shipment of something that I hope can help your family. There is a crate in the storage area marked with Wondertainment,
That's what it
discontinued
is,
item.
Dr.
It will not be
Wondertainment.
there long, as it goes to auction next week. I will leave a key under the photo of your family on your desk. Follow the instructions exactly. Do not, under any circumstances, do anything different than what is directed on the can. Destroy this message as soon as possible. I do not want any of this to come back on us. Be careful, my friend. Williams." SCP-2057 consists of 92 318-milliliter cans of condensed chicken noodle soup. Each can is covered with a brightly colored label depicting images of noodles, a cartoon chicken, and dancing vegetables. In addition to this inviting imagery, each label is emblazoned with the text, "Dr. Wondertainment's Ultralicious Chicken Noodle Soup for Kids."
Oh my gosh. I mean, if I saw that in the grocery store, I'm definitely getting it. Like, there is a 1000% chance that I am buying that.
Each can has a pull-top lid for easy opening. It is printed with a set of nutrition facts, ingredients, and instructions
It
for
sounds
heating.
delicious.
The nutrition facts are as follows. Calories, 95. Fat, 3.17 grams. Carbohydrates, 2.2 grams.
Gotta get your
Protein,
carbs in.
13.48 grams.
That's pretty specific.
Vitamin W, 2 grams. And Mother's
Wait,
Love,
Mother's Love.
10 grams.
Wait, what?
The SCP Foundation attempted
That's a
to
W.
analyze the contents of the soup in order to compare it to the posted nutrition facts. The calories, fat, carbohydrates, and protein were found to be accurately reported. Vitamin W was present in the reported amount as well,
Yeah, what is
though
that?
it was not a compound that the Foundation scientists had ever encountered before. Mother's Love, as it is an intangible concept, was not able to be identified or measured in the analyzed soup samples. The ingredients are listed as ultralicious chicken stock, enriched Chinese egg noodles,
Okay.
finest cooked chicken breast, farm fresh carrots, crispy crunchy celery, sweet Vidalia onions, no paint thinner, fresh mountain spring water, vitamin W. Contains less than 2% of the following ingredients: a pinch of salt, a
Okay.
smidgen of chicken fat,
Okay.
a sprinkle of spice extracted from rare plants,
Sounds
a dash
great.
of high-quality unicorn tears. Instructions for heating read, "Hey kids, feeling sick, icky, or downright yucky?
Just pop open a can of Dr. Wondertainment's Ultralicious Chicken Noodle Soup for Kids. Place contents of the can in a medium-sized soup pot. Add a can of water, stir, and heat. Watch
the mom
as the fun
did not
begins.
do that.
Eat hearty, and you'll feel better and ready to play with Dr. Wondertainment toys in no time. All of this is relatively straightforward, give or take a few unusual ingredients. Someone taking only a quick look might mistake a can of this soup for any other chicken noodle soup. However, it does have something that most ordinary canned soup does not.
Unicorn
a warning
tears?
label. Dr.
warning
Wondertainment's
label.
Ultralicious Chicken Noodle Soup.
Wait, so is Dr. Bob saying that all other chicken noodle soups have unicorn tears? Is that what I just heard?
For kids is intended to be eaten while it is hot to make you feel better in no time at all. Do not consume after it has become cold. Do not reheat. By purchasing from
that's
Dr.
it.
Wondertainment,
Do
you agree
not
to not hold
reheat.
Dr. Wondertainment or any of Dr. Wondertainment's affiliates accountable for injuries or damages incurred by your product. Thank you for purchasing from Dr. Wondertainment.
You see, if somebody wrote that on a can, you would think that, oh, like, what could possibly be the injuries? Maybe, I don't know, I'll, like, cut myself on the can, or maybe, I don't know, I'll get, like, a stomach ache from some bad chicken. Most people are probably not expecting that there is a small chance, if they cook it wrong and eat the soup cold, that they will turn into, and I want to put some emphasis on this, a full-sized chicken. I don't think anybody's expecting that.
So what exactly is in a can of Dr. Wondertainment's Ultralicious Chicken Noodle Soup for Kids?
Chicken and soup.
When the SCP Foundation first opened a can to take a look, they found that it was filled with condensed chicken broth and a mass of egg noodles shaped like an egg. When water was added and the contents of the can were heated to a temperature of 70 degrees Celsius, the noodle-based egg hatched.
But there's a
Inside
chicken
was a small
inside?
domesticated chicken made up of egg noodles, carrot, celery, onion, and cooked chicken breast. For simplicity's sake, this chicken noodle soup chicken is referred to as SCP-2057-1. As the Foundation researchers continued to heat the broth to a higher temperature, SCP-2057-1 began to move around, make audible chirping sounds, and eat the broth.
Okay, so
As
that's
it ate, it grew larger
sound
and
that
larger
we heard
until
earlier.
it reached a mass of 85 grams and resembled a miniature adult chicken. At a temperature between 35 and 70 degrees Celsius, SCP-2057-1 behaved much like an ordinary chicken. It continued to behave normally even as it was consumed or cut apart, apparently feeling no pain or awareness of its situation.
Okay, that's insane.
Dissection of SCP-2057-1 revealed that its insides were made up of soup ingredients, including celery and onion bones,
What?
cooked chicken breast muscles, carrot beak and legs, and chicken broth blood. When SCP-2057-1's temperature dropped below 35 degrees Celsius, it stopped moving and collapsed into the soup. At a temperature below 20 degrees Celsius, it became congealed and unappetizing. With these observations completed, the Foundation then attempted to measure the effects of this unusual chicken soup on a person that ingested it. When test subjects were fed samples of the soup at a temperature between 35 and 70 degrees Celsius, they had a very positive experience.
Okay, so that's the
soup's
temperature you're
taste was
supposed to eat
described
it
as
at.
excellent, delicious, and homey. Though the meal caused a bit of psychological distress due to the soup chicken's realistic appearance and behavior,
That is
it
kind of
improved every
strange.
test subject's physical well-being. This eventually applied to test subjects with a case of influenza, measles, or the
Oh.
common cold.
So yeah, it can heal
Following
them.
consumption of SCP-2057, each subject with a diagnosed illness of this kind reported immediate relief from their
Wow.
symptoms, including fever, aches and pains, cough, and congestion.
So it's actually like a good
With this
SCP.
positive, if a bit disturbing, effect documented, the Foundation next set out to determine what would happen if they let the soup get cold before it was eaten. Test subjects served this version of the soup had a far worse experience, describing the taste of their meal as bland, disgusting, and repulsive.
So it actually changes
67%
flavors.
of the test subjects experienced cramps, chills,
Oh.
and diarrhea
And they get
following
even
their
more
consumption of the
sick
soup,
if it's
and
cold.
62% found themselves making involuntary clucking noises, as well as experiencing a strong aversion to poultry products.
Oh, okay.
Again, several test subjects were deliberately selected based on their cases of influenza, measles, and the common cold. These test subjects immediately began to develop troubling symptoms, including the growth of pin feathers on their
my
forearms,
gosh, it's happening
loosened
again.
excess skin on their heads and under their chins, a change in their ability to walk normally, and distressing hallucinations of being hung upside down by the ankles. Following these 2 rounds of testing, the research team decided to see why exactly the warning label advised against reheating the soup. D-Class 45782 was selected as the test subject for this particular experiment and was instructed to reheat a bowl of cooled SCP-2057-1 in a microwave on high for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Then, he was to consume the reheated soup and report his experience to a camera placed in the room with him.
So I guess this is the worst thing that you can do.
D45782 microwaved the bowl of soup. As it heated in the microwave, it emitted unintelligible vocalizations in a deep voice. After removing the bowl from the microwave, D45782 noted that it was gelatinous looking, with blackened burnt bits around the edges. He took 3 bites of the disgusting, hot and cold at the same time mixture before spitting it out onto the floor and refusing to eat another bite. 15 minutes after tasting the reheated soup, D45872 began to exhibit significant distress, clucking angrily into the camera.
This is what happened to the young kid at the start of today's
became
video.
more difficult to understand, clucks and other chicken-like vocalizations making up most of his attempted speech.
Oh no.
He began scratching vigorously at his arms to the point of drawing blood.
No.
Loose skin could be seen gathering on the top of his head and under his neck.
Oh, I don't like this
6 minutes
part.
later, D45872 had lost the ability to speak. Large white pin feathers had sprouted from his arms, covering the skin, and smaller white feathers were beginning to sprout from his face. After 16 more
like
minutes
that.
passed,
Oh,
D45872 began attacking other objects in the room, attempting to destroy the microwave,
It's an
knocking the bowl
angry
of soup to
chicken.
the floor, and flipping over a table and chair. He had grown feathers over 67% of his skin, and his face had begun to change drastically. His nasal area was elongated and hardened, joining with his lower jaw in an appendage resembling a bird's beak.
He looks like an
His upper
animatronic
lip
from
had
Five Nights at
disappeared into
Freddy's.
his nasal cavity. Only 5 minutes later, D45872 suddenly stopped moving and collapsed to the floor, dead.
Dead?
Following D45872's death, an autopsy was performed. These were the findings. Autopsy revealed D45782's cause of death was due to extreme and sudden physical change of internal organs, resulting in
makes
shock
sense.
and cardiac arrest. 93% of the subject's skin was covered in feathers. Physical changes in the face resulted in a beak-like alteration of the nose and mouth. Loose skin under the neck and on the top of the head resemble a wattle and comb. Subject's lower legs were found to be covered in thick, scaly skin, with the toes of the subject's feet
Somebody's got to
ending in
cut
small,
them
rounded
toenails.
claws. The subject and instance of SCP-2057-1 were incinerated after testing and autopsy.
They
Whenever
made
not
fried
being
chicken.
used for approved experimentation, all cans of SCP-2057 must be stored in a standard, large-volume storage locker in Containment Area 27 and kept at a temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. Because SCP-2057 is in limited supply, all experiments must first be approved by at least 2 personnel with 2-1103 clearance, as well as receiving the go-ahead from Dr. Applegate. There are still 41 cans of Dr. Wondertainment's chicken soup unaccounted
so
for.
they've done, like,
and the Foundation
50
has been unable to
experiments.
track them down so far. Who knows where they ended up? Maybe at another office of Marshall Carter and Dark. Or maybe, just maybe, one made its way onto the shelves at your local grocery store. Best to be careful out there. Open the door of a containment cell and find themselves staring at something unlike anything they've ever seen before. Sitting in the middle of the room is
Okay, that thing looks like a giant, hairy meatball, and that thing is the SCP. It's actually a room that you can go inside of.
a giant lump that appears to be made of
A
what
lump.
can only be described as flesh.
Ah, it's so gross.
The two look at each other in disbelief. Just what is this thing? They
Flesh.
circle the huge
Whoa,
blob,
it's
looking
massive.
it over, wondering what on earth it could be.
Guys, check it out. Like, this guy is standing underneath of it, and it's barely even, like showing the full entire thing. Like, we're maybe seeing a quarter of the giant meatball flesh SCP.
One of
That
the
is
researchers
creepy.
finally gets the courage to actually feel it.
Ah!
He finds that it's warm to the touch.
Why would you touch it?
And does he detect some slight movement?
What?
He slowly moves to place his ear against it to listen. But a sudden shudder from the mass sends him jumping back in fright.
These guys are a lot
Just
braver
then,
than me.
The other researcher calls to him from the other side of the sphere. It sounds like he has found something. As he approaches, he too sees what caused his partner to call out. There, in the middle of this
Oh.
tumorous ball, is a door.
Okay, wait, so you're telling me they didn't see this or they didn't know about it when they first went into this area with the giant flesh meatball that it kind of looks like it has like weird hairs on it too, which is just like even more gross. Like, I know this is one of the scariest SCPs, but it's probably also one of the most gross, disgusting SCPs that I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of SCPs.
It's a circular iron hatch, the kind sealed by a valve. And it's open.
Oh.
Now the researchers are really confused.
Don't go
A
inside.
massive lump of living flesh is strange enough, but why does it have a door? One of the researchers peeks inside.
You're so
Is that a
stupid.
couch they see?
Ew.
And a table? Does someone live in this thing?
Ew.
Things are getting beyond strange.
That is
The
disgusting.
two researchers look up at the observation window where their supervisor is watching them. The supervisor does not hesitate. He nods at them, and the researchers know what they must do.
They have to go inside.
Rock, paper,
Oh.
scissors, shoot.
Is that really how the SCP Foundation does this? You would think they would have some better system other than rock, paper, scissors, shoot to decide who goes inside of the SCP.
The researcher who lost winces. He knew that coming to work at the SCP Foundation meant that he would be dealing with some strange, dangerous, and disgusting anomalies.
I would probably
but he never
quit.
imagined he would have to climb inside a giant orb of meat.
I don't think you could
His
pay me
partner
enough money
opens
to
the hatch
climb
all the
inside that
way
meatball.
and offers a hand to help him, knowing he has no other option.
The other guy that won rock, paper, scissors, shoot is like, here you go. Go ahead, Jimmy. Good luck, loser.
The researcher steps inside. Inside,
Ew.
the air is hot, thick, and moist, like a cramped gym that's had too many bodies exerting themselves on a warm, humid day.
Oh, I just know
He
the
walks
stench
through
in
the
there
short
is
entranceway,
gnarly.
and his eyes adjust to the dim light to find that he's standing in the middle of a cozy little room. A single small lamp on a table is giving off just enough light for him to see that the room is sparsely furnished.
Okay, so the room has electricity, but it also kind of looks like everything is made out of this weird flesh.
With a few pieces including a small couch and a twin bed. Outside, his partner calls to him, asking what he can see. As the researcher turns to answer, the door snaps shut.
Oh,
The valve spins on its own, locking itself tight. Try as he might, the researcher can't get it to budge. He bangs on the door and yells, "Is he all right in there? Is everything okay?" His only response is a muffled scream from inside the ball of flesh.
what is happening?
He keeps pulling at the door, twisting the valve with all of his strength.
Oh my
but it
God.
won't move. The sounds of gurgles and
Ew.
wet sloshing.
Ew,
come from
it is.
inside
It's
the
eating him
moving throat.
alive.
An alarm starts
That's
to
so
sound as
gross.
he strains against the door, exerting himself so hard that
Ew.
he feels like a vein in his head might burst. Suddenly, the valve loosens, and a sudden lack of resistance causes him to fall to the floor.
Oh, wow.
The valve spins on its own, and the door swings open once again. The ball of flesh is quiet once more.
But the
The
guy's
researcher
not going to
picks
be in
himself
there.
up off the ground and slowly, carefully, peeks inside.
Imagine there's like a new piece of furniture. Like Jimmy got turned into like a lamp.
Hello? Are you okay? Is anyone in there? There's no response. That is, until a blast of hot air comes rushing out of the hatch, blowing the
Ew.
researcher's hair back. When it's over, he peeks inside again. His fellow researcher is nowhere to be seen. Inside is the same couch, bed, and table with a small lamp.
Ah, so he did
But
not get
there's
turned into a
something new
lamp.
there, too.
Oh, is there?
Across from the couch, where there was nothing before, is a small television. While this may seem strange, it's just another day
Gross.
at the SCP Foundation, where
I
anomalous
guess.
objects and creatures are studied and contained, including SCP-002, also known as the Living Room. SCP-002 is the designation given to a large, tumorous, fleshy growth. It's roughly spherical, with a circumference just over 15 meters.
Where did they
giving
find
it an
this thing?
estimated volume of around 60 meters cubed. Located on one side is an iron valve hatch, similar to what might be found on an old submarine, which leads
Interesting.
into the
Okay.
interior of the ball.
But that's the mouth
Those who
of
step
this
inside
creature.
are surprised to discover a small room that resembles a low-rent studio apartment.
Like, I wonder if they could like bring cameras in there. I guess that's how we're seeing this. But like, I wonder if they could set up like a security camera inside of it, or maybe I don't know. Like, you're not supposed to destroy SCPs. You're just supposed to like secure and contain them. But I mean, for something, especially this, like you should try to destroy it or like put it in the ocean or bury it like a mile underground because this thing is so creepy.
Complete with furniture and even a small window.
A window?
Strangely, the outside of the ball of flesh shows no windows,
So,
and indeed no
how does
openings
that-
at all,
how does that
save
work?
for the iron hatch. The furniture in the
What?
room displays no anomalous properties. though examination has revealed that the furniture appears to be constructed of sculpted bone, woven hair, and
Ew.
other biological substances, all
that's
coming
so
from
gross.
human bodies.
Oh,
Analysis of samples taken from the furniture has shown each to be constructed from independent and fragmented DNA sequences,
yeah.
several of which
Yeah, that's my
correspond to
reaction.
SCP research personnel who have been lost inside of SCP-002. To date, the living room has been responsible for 7 members of staff going missing. At the same time, during the course of its containment at the SCP Foundation, the room appears to have added multiple additional furnishings, including 2 lamps.
All of the people have been turned into different pieces of furniture, which, I mean, dudes, like, they should never let anybody in there again because they're going to get turned into, like, it could be anything. It could be a mirror. They could get turned into a bed. They could get turned into a ceiling fan.
A throw rug, a television, a radio,
A radio?
chair,
Ew.
books in an unknown language, 4 children's toys,
Children's
and a small
toys.
plant. Tests have been performed using a variety of non-human entities in order to see if they would provoke a similar response from SCP-002 to that of humans. Various lab animals, including those with close DNA to humans, such as chimpanzees, have been placed in the room. But so far, all have failed to make the living room react. Human
So it
cadavers
only
were also
eats
tested,
humans.
but they
So it
too
only
did not
eats like
produce
these
any
guys.
effect.
Like you could send in,
It
I
is
guess,
unknown
D-class
what causes
personnel,
SCP-002
and then you'll just keep
to
getting more
engage in
parts
its
of the room
behavior.
put together.
But whatever process
That
it
is so
uses to
strange.
convert organic matter into furnishings seems to only be triggered by the presence of living human beings. SCP-002 was discovered in northern Portugal, following reports of an object falling from Earth's orbit.
Got it. Okay, don't
There
go
in
to
the bottom of
Portugal.
the small crater was SCP-002.
It fell out of the
It was
sky.
encased in a thick shell of rock.
So it's
but
an
the anomaly's
alien.
fleshy exterior could be seen through cracks that were likely created by the impact. A local farmer was the first to spot the object falling to Earth and brought word of what he found to his village.
Good.
At the same time, a Level 4 SCP Foundation agent stationed in the area detected elevated levels of radioactivity and traced
so
the source
he knew
back
about
to the
it.
crater. An SCP collection squad led by General Mulhausen was dispatched to the impact site and quickly secured the area. Test subjects from the nearby village were recruited for initial analysis of the object, with 3 men being individually sent inside of SCP-002, all of whom disappeared.
See?
Having confirmed this anomaly's deadly properties, General Mulhausen then issued a Level 4A termination order that would apply to any local witnesses in order to ensure that no knowledge of the object reached the outside world. He then oversaw its transport to an SCP containment facility.
Okay.
As Foundation staff prepped SCP-002 for relocation, 4 members of the security personnel were seemingly mesmerized and drawn inside the object.
Oh, okay, so this is new. We didn't realize that the SCP has, like, mind control abilities. If you're nearby, it can take over your mind, and I guess all of them are probably about to walk into this thing.
They too disappeared. This was the first hint that SCP-002 possesses some form of subtle mind control, with the ability to influence humans into stepping inside of it. It was after these losses that it was first noticed that the object appeared to grow new furnishings, following someone disappearing inside. After these mishaps, General Mulhausen ordered all staff to wear hazmat suits when dealing with SCP-002.
That
And
is
following
smart.
the General's own termination, SCP-002 was placed in containment at the secure facility
like
where
looking
it
at
currently
it.
resides. Due to the ongoing danger presented by SCP-002, the risk it poses to any who step inside of it, and the mind control abilities it possesses, it has been classified as Euclid.
Okay,
It is
that
to
makes
remain
sense.
connected at all times to a suitable power supply to keep it in a charging mode of some kind.
Okay, so it does indeed take power, which is how the lamp is able to turn on. I was kind of wondering that earlier, but I was hoping that they would explain it. So it does take power. I guess they just, like, stick it in its butt, and then it's able to power up, I guess.
Which appears to make it more docile.
Oh,
In the
okay.
event of a power outage, staff in the immediate area are to be evacuated, and the object's containment cell emergency barrier is to be closed.
Okay, wait, you're telling me that the SCP Foundation that have people, like, stationed all the way out in Portugal and, like, probably across the world, they can't afford a generator to keep the power on? What?
Sealing it off from the rest of the site.
I don't believe it.
Once power is reestablished, strobing X-ray and ultraviolet lights are to be activated in the containment cell
Oh,
until
okay.
SCP-002 is returned to its charging mode.
Oh,
Research
okay.
teams investigating SCP-002 that will come within 20 meters of the object must consist of no fewer than 2 members. Personnel should also maintain physical contact with one another at all times to confirm
why?
that the other is present and not experiencing any feelings of confusion, dulled perception, or other forms of
Well, what if they
bewilderment
both
that may
get
lead to them
brainwashed?
entering the living room. No personnel at all below a level 3 clearance are allowed inside of SCP-002, and any staff that have contact with the anomaly are to be escorted no less than 5 kilometers away and must undergo a 72-hour quarantine and psychological evaluation.
That is probably for the best.
SCP-002 is one of the oldest anomalies in the SCP Foundation database, but remains one of the least understood.
Yeah, I'm actually very curious about this. Since it is SCP-002, is this like technically the second SCP that was ever created? I'm stupid, so let me know in the comments down below if that's the case.
Perhaps one day we'll understand what it is and why it was at one time sitting in the orbit of Earth. Did someone send it here, intending us to one day find it? Did it come here of its own volition? Or did we put it there ourselves in an attempt to keep it away?
So many questions.
Thanks for...
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. That is our daily education on SCP-002, The Living Room, one of the creepiest, most disgusting SCPs I have ever learned about. And if you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys leave a like on today's video. And while you're at it, click this video right here to learn more about SCPs.